It's Saturday. Now you know what that means.
What?
Oh, I don't know. I was kind of hoping you might be able to tell me.
Stop.
She's from South Africa.
And he's from the USA.
With a topical look every week, it's Saturday Conversations. I'm Sarge.
And I am the Duchess.
Hello YouTube, and we are back, are we not?
Yes, we are.
This is the official setup, and what we're doing is Saturday Conversations is our official podcast, but that's over on Spotify. What we're going to do this week is we're going to show you what we do as our weekly podcast here on YouTube and see if you like it. In the basement, I will add the link to the, I guess we'd call it, homepage of Saturday Conversations. And what we do is we like to poke a little fun, just like we always have on this channel. But we also get a little serious when we need to be.
Yep, yes we do.
In fact, this week, the Duchess came up with the idea.
Yeah, Sarge and I are doing a bit of
Renovations.
renovations around the house. The house was built in 1988, so you can imagine things are a little dated. So with time on my hands, of course, I don't like idle hands, right? The biggest bugbear that I've had, Sarge and myself have had, is trying to find good quality work. Construction workers, handymen, anybody that is au fait with DIY, that sort of thing. It's become almost impossible. One of the things is we'll phone someone and they promise the earth to you, give you a time and a date that they'd arrive. So you set that time and date aside, forgoing everything else that you might have had planned because you're expecting these people to come in. Not a phone call, not appearance, not an apology, not a kick your ass, nothing. So I normally get on the phone, do I not?
Always.
You know, can you tell us when we can expect you? You were supposed to have been here at 10 o'clock.
And the calls being made at 11, 11:30, 12 o'clock.
And, oh, I don't have you on my schedule, or oh, we've just got a little bit caught up on this side. And so why don't you just call me or call your next client and say, I'm sorry, we've been held up. We apologize for doing this to you, but we will definitely reschedule with you and set a time and a date there and then. Doesn't matter how busy you are, because let me tell you something. The moment people stop coming back to you and stop filling you in and stop communicating with you, what happens?
They lose that customer.
Yeah, so their customer base becomes smaller and smaller because I've got a big mouth, don't I?
Yes, she does.
And quiet for anyone. And when poor service is poor service, I get on board and I tell everybody from Google to all the social networking platforms, because I just don't believe that you deserve that kind of you deserve good recognition if you're a poor business person. I just feel there's so much lacking, and small business owners.
I would say, I'll go one step further, and when you encounter bad customer service, bad performance, you wind up with your little, would you say, condition called diarrhea of the mouth. You just let it run.
And it also has a direct effect on the family as well, because you work yourself up because you're going to have strangers in the house, which in itself is not very pleasant, especially because Matt and I.
That's okay, you can call me Matt on this channel because they know me as some guy named Matt as well.
So are very private people. We're very particular about who we have in our home, and I'm sure most of you are the same. You don't just have hordes of people strolling through your home, I should say. And so you work yourself up to that pitch. Then they don't pitch up. Then my temper starts flaring. Then I have an interaction. I try and stay cordial and above board. I don't like to lose it, but I'm not afraid of confrontation. So I will say, look, I really need a definite time and date from you. And this is where I think small businesses fall flat. And I'm not pushing Lowe's at all. We do a lot of business with Lowe's because of our renovations. And I want to tell you something about their business ethic. They will let you know that they've received your order by text or by email, your choice.
Sometimes by both.
Correct. Then they will tell you exactly when they're going to deliver. The day before they deliver, or a couple of days before they deliver, you'll get a phone call from someone who says, I've got such and such with order number such and such, and I'm expected to arrive. Will this day suit you? What time? And you give them what you would like them to, or when you would like them to arrive and deliver the item. The day of their arrival, they will say, we're at our client now, our second to last client now. You are the last on our list. We will be there in 15 minutes. And you can set your clock by it. 15 minutes later, Lowe's will pull up into your drive and deliver your goods in good condition. I have never ever felt it. And you can understand why Lowe's has become one of those mover and shaker organizations, businesses. I feel very strongly about business because that is the backbone of our country, is business. And the small business is definitely the backbone. But when you start letting your clients down, people will eventually go to the bigger chains and leave the entrepreneur out of the whole equation, the small entrepreneur. And that's what I've always believed America is about. It's about capitalism, growing and being able to be competitive and fight and earn that almighty dollar. And be proud of being a single, or if you've got partners, but a small business. Be proud of that, but let your customers know where you are, what time of the day you're going to be here. I know I'm rattling on, but I feel very, very passionate about it.
And that's fine. We can give an exact example of what recently happened to us. We had a septic pump burn out on us, and we called the company. We'll be there, if I'm not mistaken, it was Thursday at 10 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
At about 12, the Duchess calls him up. No, we didn't even have you on the schedule. Oh, the Duchess says, well, can you put me on the schedule now for tomorrow? Same time? Yeah, okay. 10 o'clock the next day. No call. Nobody there. 11 o'clock. Oh yeah, we're running a little bit late. We'll be there shortly. 11:30. The company's septic truck pulls up, but not to our house. To the house across the street. Had to call him up. And Duchess says, yeah, I see your truck and you're at my neighbor's house, not mine. So that kind of not too good. Another bad experience that we had recently. If you go and check out the Spotify, this is now week 9, excuse me. I'm off with my weeks. This is now our 9th episode of Saturday Conversations, and there's been a few where the Duchess hasn't been there, and part of that is she needed some work done. Dental work. Go to a dentist. 8 o'clock appointment. It's 7:45. We get up to the reception. She says, I've got an 8 o'clock appointment. Okay, what's your name? So she gives her name without typing a single letter into the computer. No, you're not on my schedule. Nice looking up. She says, are you sure? It's supposed to be for 8 o'clock. No, you're not in my system at all. I was this close, y'all, from using some really, really, really foul language. Instead, I leaned over that counter and says, exactly how many dentists do we have here in this small town? I actually named the town, but, and she just looks at me. Excuse me, you little cat. I can do that too. So we got out of there, and we were going to go to Foodland, a little grocery store up the road. Right next to Foodland is a restaurant that's changed hands a few times. When we first moved here 5 years ago, it was an all-you-can-eat buffet. Then it went to a barbecue. Now it is a Mexican hibachi place. Dear Lord. But right next to that was another dentist. So we went in. You wouldn't happen to have Duchess's name. Oh yes, for 8 o'clock. What a difference. 3 miles makes in customer service and how the overall experience wound up. I'm at the point, that first office, even if I had teeth, I would not want to ever go there. And I never tell the Duchess, you can't do anything. I don't do that. No. But I would highly suggest in the future not getting any work done there at all. There's only one piece of business that I would do there, and with their customer service, it's a toss-up as to whether or not I'd flush.
It's true what Sarge says, the difference in attitudes. And what really surprised me was the difference in the waiting rooms. The first one, where it was just rudeness personified, there was no one in the wait room. When we went to the second one, granted it was a few minutes later, it wasn't an hour later, it was literally a few minutes later. The waiting room was packed. The ladies behind the reception desk had attended to everybody, had greeted everybody with a smile, had cracked a few jokes with everybody, had time to discuss whatever they wanted to discuss. Time was for the client or for the patient or the customer. It wasn't about them. It was about who you are. How can we help you? And that's what customer service is all about. And people have forgotten that. This whole change in business ethics has really upset me, because it's all about the person now and the owner of the business, and you've come to us, we don't need you, which is BS. You need every set of footsteps that come through your front door. in order to turn a profit, in order to make a business. If you are not going to bend over backwards for that person and encourage good business, you're going to fall flat and your business will not be expected to grow. And then when you're sitting at the end of the month with one person on your schedule and you keep saying to yourself, but I don't understand what happened. Have a look at your attitude. Check your attitude at the door.
And another thing with that, we're going to go to a pre-tape here, is employees, we're talking about their individual attitudes. Check out this example right here. Got me working till after sunset. Gonna take me a break, I'd give a flying. Now yes, that was me in that, but that's just an exaggeration, or an example of people. Yeah, I do smoke, but you know what? When I'm at my job, I smoke when I can. My last shift, there was only 2 cigarette breaks that I took because work came first. As a supervisor, I needed to make sure that my employees were doing their job, that any issues that were coming up were being addressed as they were coming up. And my employees' issues that they would bring to my attention were getting taken care of. It wasn't that I had time to go out and smoke. So, but here's another instance of what I see of people and employees' attitudes. Well, hell, I could care less. You know, these people, they kept me here till dang near 10 o'clock last night. So, I don't give a damn. I'll talk on the phone if I want to. Well, okay, well, you busy. I understand. Alright, I'll catch you later. Now, why in the world are you actually playing games on your phone? You're there to do a job, right? Don't you have breaks? Why are you talking on the phone when you should be working? You have breaks, that's when you talk on the phone. Unless there's an emergency. Unless you need to check on the welfare of somebody at home. How about this one here? Really? For most jobs, you have an 8-hour shift. That gives you 16 hours to get to and from work, to eat, to play your games, to text, to sleep. Why are people actually sleeping on the job?
I'll tell you what's happened is people are more interested in the paycheck now rather than having an interest in the actual business. And one thing I've noticed about being here in America is if you get in on the ground floor, and even if it is not a position that you really want, but if you show aptitude, motivation, have strong job ethics, you will find yourself climbing up the ladder into a direction that you would really find your passion. It's not a dead-end job. You take a position at, and I know everyone likes to use this example, McDonald's. Get in and you're now, a dishwasher? From dishwashing you can work yourself up to the grill. From the grill you can work yourself up onto the headphones. And from there they have the most amazing educational courses.
Hamburger you.
And you can learn to become managerial, human resources.
Or even a franchise owner. That's the kind of things that the Hamburger U at Hamburger University actually does, is train to make those so you can own a McDonald's franchise.
That's very interesting. I didn't know, but so it's none of these positions that you walk into are dead-end jobs. You've got to remember that you have to have a semblance of dignity about yourself. You have to have care and compassion for your clients. You've got to have an interest in what you're doing, and also an understanding that with growth comes tedium. You've got to do stuff that you are not interested in doing, but you're learning. And that's what life is all about, is the learning game. The amount of positions that I've had in my life where I have not been interested in the least, but I went in with an open mind state, saying to myself, what can I learn from this position? And where can it eventually get me? And every position I've ever had has been a stepping stone into the next journey of the next chapter of my life. And you must never shut the door on it, and never make enemies wherever you are, because you never know when you need to go back for maybe something else, for another position. And people will remember you from your work ethic.
I agree, 100% there. Now, you like it when I rub my hands together, kid.
No, it frightens me.
Production meeting. We talked about bringing in a brand new segment of multiple choice. We just never came up with a name for it. Mm-hmm. So that's what we're going to call it right here on YouTube. Saturday Conversations. So I will explain it to everybody watching. I am going to give suggestions, a scenario with a couple of possible solutions. I am going to see if the Duchess can give the correct answer. Now, mind you, she does not know ahead of the fact what the questions are, so she can't look them up. You ready?
Yes.
Alrighty. Question number 1. For the fellas. You sit down. A man's doing his business on the commode. He looks down and sees traces of blood in the water. Now he should either A, phone his doctor right away. B, wait it out a couple of days, see what happens. Or C, call 911 and head straight to the emergency room.
I'd say A.
Oh, no. Unfortunately, the correct answer is D.
Didn't have a D.
Call your gynecologist because, dude, you're having a male period. Alrighty, question number 2. Again, for the fellas. You have a headache, and you grab what you think is Advil. Your headache's still pounding away. However, you discover another issue. And 4 hours later, it does not go down. Do you A, call your doctor for advice? B, phone poison control? Or C, do you make it one memorable night with your loved one?
D, you phone 911.
Well, that wasn't one of those answers, but actually, since you want to put a D in there.
That was so wrong on so many levels.
The correct answer is E. You phone your buddies and you brag, dude, it's been 4 hours, man, it's still raging, dude. Yeah, oh yeah, helicopter. Did you? We've had a little bit of time since the production meeting. Did you come up with any questions with multiple choice answers?
Sir, they're very off-putting. I don't want to play this game.
All right, so coming up in weeks to come, we will see if multiple choice stays as a part of Saturday conversations.
I hope not. I hope you all have the common sense to say no.
So, getting into other topics, and I am going to piggyback off of what I did for last week about friendships. And one thing I don't think I touched on was a mentality of, what can you do for me? Is that really a friendship? You do things for your friends whether they ask you to or not, just out of loyalty, you know? You have a friend, hypothetically, because you have friends out in South Africa. You don't wait for them to say, hey, I need you to help me do this. I need you to help me do that. You come up, you know, hey, what can I do to help you? You know, would this help you if I did this? You do that out of loyalty to your friends, right? Yeah, see, to me, that is a friendship. But then that friend also needs to do the same for you when you've got something going on. And how can they help you?
Yeah.
Not come back with, well, you didn't ask me for help.
Yeah, it depends on the person though. I have to say, a lot of people it's dependent on the personality of the person. I will do anything to help anybody because that's the type of person I am, and I know Sarge is exactly the same. I also do things without expecting anything in return because I've noticed through my life that even my closest well-meaning friends, sometimes their lives are so full that it's not part of their thought process to say, well, what can I do for you? What I do dislike in friendship is when you're going through something really tough and you'll get that phone call, is there anything I can do for you? And you just know that that is shallow. There's nothing. I've got very good friends here. Without even saying anything, can I do something for you? And the next minute there's something left at the door for us. Out of the goodness of their heart, not ever expecting anything in return. And not even knowing that person very, very well. Which has eventually, you know, over the years now developed into really a good friendship, even though you don't see that person often. And I just think that we have to give our friends a break. I think deep down inside you really know who your friends are. And you will understand if nothing comes back from them because being a friend, you know what they're going through. But those friends will also surprise you at a later date, don't you find? I mean, I can think of one very good friend who dropped everything for you to be at your side when you needed it the most. And even though you don't see that friend often, that person is still there, even though there's not that same connection that you used to have because of marriage and children getting in the way. But you still share a bond. And it's not just because you're veterans.
I mean, true, but we'll put this in a little more clearer perspective is put a product out there on social media. Simple push of the button for share. How much time does that take?
But there, I don't even think that we need to rely on friends. I think anyone who watches and is enjoying the product should share. Because not often, I mean, it's oftentimes you don't think by sharing something that you're doing anyone any good, but you'd be surprised how many times people get something out of it. Sarge sent something to me, all right, we're married and he understands and knows me, just out of the blue. And I thought that was the most decent, kindest thing that I'd received. And I get those often from friends and specifically from Sarge. But, you know, it's just to know that you've been thought of by just sending and sharing. And we'd like to think that you would do the same thing with our channel, that you'd share, like, and send. You know, send via email, via WhatsApp, whatever.
You know, part of that, also, everything from Saturday Conversations comes out of our pocket. We put on, for the most part, when it's the both of us, close to, if not a 1 hour podcast. And it's just her and I. We don't have somebody off camera doing IT research for us. We don't have celebrity name to back us up. We don't have any sponsors. In fact, I've been in contact with a boner pill company who won't even return my calls, yet they're sponsoring over 100 celebrity podcasts. I go to local companies. They want a return on their sponsorship, but won't get it from such small viewership. So how do we increase the viewership? To get sponsors, to put out a better product for everybody. It's difficult. It really is. On top of my 40 hours of work, hour to and from, you're looking at 50 hours a week just on my job. Getting to and from and being at the job. I'm actually there a half hour early, so you can count in an extra 2.5 hours on that. Then I wind up editing 25 to 26 hours a week when I get home from work, because it gets so complicated. So you add all that up together, that's pretty much like 2 jobs right there. One of which, no pay. It's just to put out something like what we're doing right now. You know, and when the help's not there, it does get frustrating, you know?
I'd say you should look at it from a different angle. If you're enjoying doing what you're doing, the enjoyment should be the reward in itself, and the viewership will come. I think the only reason I would like some sort of feedback and some sort of share, because the more you share, the more we understand what you would like us to chat about. Because this is Saturday Conversations, and what we discuss in our living room is probably what you are discussing at home with your family and your friends. So we'd really like to know more about what you'd like us to talk about. For me, it's not a monetary thing. For me, it's an enjoyment thing. And I would just like to share opinions, gossip, have a good laugh.
You have a good laugh every day. All you gotta do is look at my face.
So for me, that's my angle. But I do understand from Sarge's point of view as well. You know, it's his time, his energy, his editing, and he gives a lot to it. We're not by any means professional. We're garage YouTubers. But we enjoy doing it, we really do. And we'd like to be able to present something a lot more professional, as we grow into the channels.
But in doing so, we need the equipment to get us there. We need the software to get us there.
Yes.
And we can't do it out of pocket. That's where the sponsorship would come in.
Yes, but I also think that it takes time to grow a channel, and that patience is an absolute virtue.
Now, remember last week's episode? Episode 1, 26 views. The previous episode had a full week to be viewed. 3. It's supposed to increase, not decrease.
And I think with the decreases, perhaps we are not talking about the right topics. Perhaps we're doing something that is not to certain tastes, and we need to know, we'd love to know from you basically what you'd love us to chat about, what topics you'd like to hear an opinion on, what you'd like. It can be topical. We're not political in any manner of means. We hold strong opinions, definitely, but those opinions are our opinions for our home. I don't want to necessarily have to discuss it on our channel. So yeah, we'd love to hear from you. One thing I would like to, over and above this friendship and sharing and that sort of thing, is just, if we could, just ask this one big thing of you, and that is just to press that little like button. That like button accelerates the algorithm, which gets us out there and allows us to be seen by more people. And there's lots of things we'd like to discuss, which is very topical, but we don't want to be offensive at the same time. So
we want to talk about things that are interesting to other people other than just ourselves, is basically what she's trying to say. In that, very seldom do we talk politics. Did once right after the State of the Union. You were out for that episode, and I think the title was State of the Union, State of Sarge's Mind. Mm-hmm. We don't talk religion because we have our religion, other people have their religion, and we're not going to get into a holy war. We want to be respectful for everybody.
Correct.
But anything else topical, we've talked not at great lengths, but we've briefly touched on this missing child, 15-year-old autistic boy here in Middle Tennessee. We had an episode where we talked about children in general disappearing. On last episode, as I was recording it, we had just found out the student from Missouri. They just discovered his body in the Cumberland River in West Nashville. So we do talk serious things. We, as you saw last segment, funny. We like to cut them.
Yeah, we do.
In one of the first episodes, we had a mock commercial. Go down to that link. Check out that first episode about us, where we had a couple of mock commercials with the banana wrap, pen in the hand 3000, and the bat for the rat. Plus, if you could also check out that first episode, check out this episode after you've seen this episode, see where we've come and improved. Give us your feedback, and that way we can put out a product that more people will be able to enjoy.
I would just like to, if you don't mind, chat about People doing good. Is that possible?
Absolutely. We've got about 15, 20 minutes left on this episode.
Okay.
Or we can hold that off until next week.
Okay, let's do that
When
week.
we'll be back on Spotify next week. In the meantime, any special thanks that you want going out?
Well, my special thanks go to the people that have surrounded me here in Tennessee, who have lifted me up, not made me feel alienated, not made me feel strange, because particularly where we stay in a small town, I do stick out like a sore thumb. And yet I've been able to find salt of the earth people who have managed to put their arms around me and lift me up and made me feel especially accepted and special. And those people I'd like to mention, it would be Kim, who has a riding school and does exceptionally well for herself. It's Briscoe and Miss Linda.
And a little bit of a surprise for you.
Mm-hmm.
I purposefully kept this at the production meeting. Let you folks know, I have been on Ancestry.com for, I'd say, about 5 years now, 6 years. I've been on Ancestry when I did that spit test and mailed it off. 7 years. I forgot when I had done it.
Mm-hmm.
Plus time flies when I'm with you. Anyway, 2 nights ago, I had somebody reach out to me. Who Ancestry identified as a second to third cousin. Name I had never heard before. And this morning, he gave me 2 names that I was familiar with. Florence and William.
Your grandmother.
And my father.
Are you okay?
We have now exchanged emails.
Yes.
And getting to know each other. Kevin Brown, my
That is
second cousin.
Stunning. That is stunning news.
He came up with it. He provided me with a third name that I did not know for a fact.
Mm-hmm.
Florence was married to Elwood. But the fact that he knew my grandmother's name and the town in Maine where she was from, and that they had a son named William, he threw a few names in there that didn't sound familiar, but knowing that my grandmother was Florence in Eastport, Maine, and she had a son named William, which was my father,
Wow,
Bill.
That's incredible.
So, definitely, if you wonder about your family, it doesn't have to be Ancestry. It can be the, what is it, Family Link, FamilyTree.com, or You and Me in 3, or I mean, there's at least 10 or 15 out there that all you have to do is either swab the inside of your mouth, spit in a vial, mail it off, and they compare to multiple DNA samples throughout the years, throughout the systems, And I'm gonna embarrass that young lady right there. She did it. Little Miss South Africa. And she found out that distant relationship to the one and only, the legendary Boston Celtic, Larry Bird.
We share the same DNA. I don't know how close that is.
You had told me at one point, and I forget it, but it was somewhere along the lines of like fifth or seventh cousins or something like that.
Street. And the Gillenhalls.
Yep.
And Otis, the Iceman, one of the kings in England. So quite a rich history. But then also, I come from gypsy stock. So we've got a full round genealogy, if you want to call it, a gene pool. We have a very rich and deep gene pool.
That's
Rich and deep gene pool.
That's actually what they call it, genealogy. Yeah, okay.
It's the same.
You have all those names. The names that came up on mine as. Hey, we're not gonna talk about him because he runs his mouth and winds up with lawsuits.
Yeah, I think it's wonderful, especially if you have an interest in your ancestors, especially close relatives that you've never met, or you've met in the past but would like to regroup with. I think it's wonderful. My friend in Texas is doing it, and she is loving every minute of it. So it's great to find out where you originate from.
I know where I originated from. A little itch. So yeah, I wanted to throw that out there. And with that, we now have week 9 in the books.
Yes.
You want to do it again?
I'd love to do it again.
She so often forgets her cues about getting a Tootsie Roll out there.
So from me, in my South African ways, totsiens.
And next week we'll be back on Spotify, so we'll see you next week. Peace.